Hi. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to another live stream. This is Avatar's game by Ubisoft, but not the one people are playing. Basically, let me enter my name here. Mini-Me, or should we go with something funnier? Mini-Me's good. Hi Matthias, hi Space Thing, who wasn't first this time. Hi Bad Pun. Funny how you started playing while I was playing the new Avatar game. Yeah, so, basically, that might be a bit loud, let me turn that down. Basically, I've been playing the new Avatar game, and rather enjoying it. I finished it last night, I think it's fairly good, and I want to make a review of the Avatar game. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. And while playing it, I couldn't stop thinking about this game, which is the old one. And there were things I think that this game did far better than the new Avatar game, the one everyone likes. So I wanted to just go back and remind myself. I could watch my old video review. I might do that as well. But yeah, like things around how lively the world was in this original Avatar game were far more interesting, I thought, than the new Avatar game. So here we are checking it out. Sorry, I'm just making sure all my posts worked. I think we're good. And yeah, this is also a game that I reviewed. You might remember back in 2018 I made a video about this game. And it's a very popular video of mine. Jordan, what's up? Good to see ya. This is Avatar, the original one. But yeah, I made a review of the original James Cameron's Avatar 2009 game, which is this, back in 2018. And people really resonated with that video. So, this is way better than the Evil Chicken Final Fantasy VII stream. This is one of your most viral videos. Yeah. Yeah, I think the reason for that is I was kind of first to the punch to talk about this game, really. And I played this game when it came out. We rented it from Blockbuster because Blockbuster was still around. Funnily enough, when I was trying to install this game, I'm playing on PC here, which means it'll probably crash and we'll have to stream something else in 20 minutes.
I'll be in charge of your orientation. Which one of you is writer?
I was trying to remember what platform I had this game on, whether it was like Steam or Ubisoft Connect or Uplay or whatever. Turns out I have this game on disc. I have it on a That's Hot repack. And I don't have that disc anymore, so I pirated the game and I had to use a keygen. Anyway, here it is. So in this Avatar game, unlike the new one, you play as a human, and you actually go into an Avatar body. But anyway, let's talk to this person.
Falco's been damn near frantic for your arrival.
Falco?
Hi, Jeff. Good to see you.
First things first.
Graphics give you Crisis vibes. Yeah, so the funny thing about this game, and I guess I feel like the latest Avatar game, Frontiers of Pandora, is maybe the best looking game this year. I know that Digital Foundry called it the best looking game of this year, which is pretty credible. It's between that and Alan Wake 2. And I think that this Avatar game from 2009 is one of the best looking games of 2009. But not being a high profile game, no one really cares. You know? Like if this game got 10 out of 10s across the board, people would still be talking about how good it looked. But because it didn't, no one really talks about it. Anyway. This is running on the Demia engine, I believe, which you might know from Far Cry 2. And if you're just joining us, we're playing the original James Cameron's Avatar game. Man, I'm not too sure about this new Avatar game. Gives me 2009 vibes. My favorite game ever. I'm probably got my camera in a weird spot. Let's move me. I'm putting me up here. There we go. Lovely. Hi. But now I'm like looking to the side. That's really annoying. I'm putting it over here. This way I'm looking at the game. Framing. But yeah, basically, I finished the new game last night, and I thought, this is a fairly good game, but also this original game does some things better than it from memory, so I wanted to go back, just refresh my memory before writing the review of the new game. Frontiers of Pandora is just Far Cry mixed with Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it's a Ubisoft game. I think it does some things... What am I doing? I think it does some things better than any Far Cry game does. You can sort of... It's a funny game, because it's clearly... The new game is clearly a Ubisoft game, but it's like really trying to break out of that Ubisoft mode. Hi, Sienna Gears. Welcome. Good to see you. It's kind of like Far Cry, but they're not trying to hold your attention all the time, so it's like okay with having long, quiet moments. And I kind of like that about the new Avatar game. And it also has this mode called Exploration Mode. Let's link with my avatar. And basically every objective will tell you, or almost everyone in the new Avatar game will be like, go to this place. It is northwest of this place. And you'll know where this place is, but you won't know where that place is. So you kind of just have to go to that place and go northwest and find it for yourself. If you have exploration mode on. And I think that's a really interesting concept for a Ubisoft game because it makes you engage with the world more. And I think that's cool. And otherwise you can just put the normal mode on and it'll just signpost, you know, it'll put an objective marker on where you need to go. And I think that one key change makes the new Avatar game a lot better than Far Cry games, at least since Far Cry 2, because Far Cry 2 is the best one. And I have a real problem with open world games that kind of just chuck objectives on where you need to go. I often find them really boring. I couldn't get into The Witcher 3 because it did that. Couldn't really get into Cyberpunk either because it did that. I like to explore. It's cool.
You're actually quite good at this.
Anyway, this game's giving you some Avatar wish fulfillment. Look, I was almost my Avatar and then I clocked back out.
Officer Midori's waiting for you.
Have you linked with your Avatar lately, Minnie? Not lately, thanks for asking.
But listen, you need to find Kensington and help him bring the side gates online. Commander Falco's ready.
I'm just gonna skip these cutscenes, they're not interesting. I want to get to the Avatar bits. The story in this game's bad. That's the quest tracker. Cool. Good to know. Yep. Lovely. Witcher 3's constant objective leash is incredibly annoying. It's so annoying. Yeah, that's what I think. I find it really annoying. And I can't play that. Like, I don't like The Witcher 3 because of it. Like, it's kind of my main gripe with it. It just kind of feels like I'm being led around between cutscenes and kind of really boring combat. Also, funny thing, I really like James Cameron's Avatar. I think that it's a very delightful, immersive, beautiful film. I'm gonna skip this as well. We're skipping cutscenes here. And, it's kind of funny having that opinion online. And it's kind of funny, like, the last... How long has it been since Avatar? 14 years? The last 14 years online have been all about how if you go to any Avatar thread on Reddit... Micro, my house was on fire yesterday, dude. What? Stay safe? That sounds awful. That sucks. Anyway, yeah, Where do you want to go? We're skipping. This game has this... I forgot to mention this in my review years ago, but this game has this weird, like, planetary territory war thing. Chimney caught on fire. That's awful. But yeah, enjoying the Avatar movies is quite a controversial thing online. But, in real life, it's pretty normal, I feel like. I don't know. Like, I find it really weird. Now that I've finished the game, you know, I find it weird when people, like, there's a few reviews of the new Avatar game that open their review with, Avatar's a really dull film, you know, with no cultural impact and forgettable characters and the usual.
Ryder, you're just in time.
And it's like,
Got troops caught in the wire. They're
you're
reporting
playing an
all
Avatar
the
game.
men.
I don't know, what do you expect? Anyway. To the Avatar thing, same thing with Shrek the Third. Everyone hates it online, but the people I've met in real life like it. I've never thought about Shrek the Third. I remember watching it. Yeah, Avatar has no... Well, Avatar is like... Also, this is running at 144 Hz, which I'm very impressed by. And it has controller support. Anyway. Everyone compares Avatar to either Fern Gully, Pocahontas, Dancing with Wolves, or Last of the Mohicans. It's like, Avatar is just Pocahontas in space. Killing Scrags. See how it gives you, like, XP? I remember I made this point in my review that the game feels like it should, like, it wants to be an MMO, but it isn't. But something this game does that I think is cool is it makes, it kind of presents a lot of its battles as like a skirmish between two teams. Whereas the new game is more like, you are the chosen one and you kill everyone. Whereas this game is like, you know, you're in a battle. Were you expecting Avatar 2 to make as much money as it did in the box office, or was it less more? About as much as it did. I know a lot of people were saying, you know, Avatar 2 will bomb, who wants to see this? But I wasn't surprised at all when a James Cameron movie was a massive success, I don't know. And I think the third one will be too. But yeah, everyone compares it to Pocahontas, Dancing with Wolves, Last of the Mohicans, or Fern Gully, but no one ever compares those movies to each other, you know? It's like, Avatar is bad because it's similar to these movies, but these movies aren't bad even though they're similar to one another. This game could have been improved if they put Thirsty Merc on the soundtrack. I saw your message. I'm getting there. There should be an Avatar MMO. I agree. But yeah, there's a general sentiment that Avatar's like a super unoriginal film and the storyline is so unoriginal and, I don't know. But something this game also does better than the new one is vehicles. The new one you can drive a horse and ride an Ikran. Drive a horse. Ride a horse! This one has like tons of vehicles you can control. It's kind of awesome. And it does a lot more with the mechs, and the graphics are still kind of amazing. This is a great looking game. And very alive, see? You just come across these battles throughout the entire game, which is something that feels very static in the new one because it's not like that. Is the right way? Oh, look, they've crashed a car here to tell you that your car can't go this way. That's environmental storytelling. That's like putting a skeleton down with a note next to it. Tossing up whether or not to get Doom on the GBA, thoughts. It's a good port, but that's, you know, that's a collector's item. I can't. If you are rich, then sure. I don't know. You've got skills. It's giving me keyboard prompts, but I'm on controller. But yeah, like calling the Avatar film unoriginal. Like, they spent over $200 million on a weird alien movie about blue people. And an original IP, like, I don't know. I don't buy it. I feel like before Avatar came out, everyone was like, this looks so weird. Why are they doing this? How do you dodge? And then it came out and suddenly the movie about the weird blue people is unoriginal because it's like Pocahontas, which is also like Fern Gully, which is also like, you know. This game is weird because I feel it was made because they got that Ubisoft formula. Yeah, the new one. I'm very amused by the existence of Avatar. Yeah, I think it should be celebrated as a big original IP. That's clearly, like, has a lot of passion behind it. This is the one that has Far Cry 2 fire spreading tech? Yeah, this runs on the Far Cry 2 engine, which is why it looks so good. We're skipping all the dialogue because it's not worth listening to. Basically, you kind of get fetch quests like a MMO, and that's sort of the whole game. Shift is sprint. Shift is dive. I don't know how you do that on the controller. Left trigger is dive. That's right, there's no aim down sights. The Wii version is completely different. Yes, it is. And the Wii version is also the same as the PSP version. And it's more linear. There's also a mobile version on both J2ME and iOS. Don't ask me why I know all this. And the iOS version of the game is rather good too. By Gameloft. Because of course every Ubisoft mobile game is by Gameloft. Did you know the person who founded Gameloft is the brother of the person who founded Ubisoft? Which is why Gameloft makes so many Ubisoft ports. When's the firebending coming in? We're getting there. If you're just joining us, this is the 2009 Avatar game. No one's talking about this anymore. Because I'm reviewing the new one, and I want to remind myself of what this one was like. And I always thought this game was a bit underrated. But it's also quite janky in all the ways that the new one is very smooth. Look at this foliage. I've cranked this all up to max. Like, this isn't what it would look like on PS3 and Xbox. But, damn, you know? I think this is what maybe the best looking 2009 game. But no one cares because it's Avatar. What was also interesting about this game is you hit a point where you decide between joining the Na'vi or sticking with the humans. Kendra has headed south, find her. And it's sort of like there's two campaigns in this game, right? You have the Na'vi campaign and the human campaign, you know. Ooh, let's drive this thing. It's fun, right? That's just different vehicles. Hello, Rhino. Mitchell Stark dropped a catch. Oh no. What's Pakistan on? Does that mean there's a chance for Rainbow Six Extraction Ouya port? Yeah, by Gameloft. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so there's two campaigns, a Na'vi campaign and a human campaign. And it was at the time, you know, when Infamous was popular and Fable was popular and Mass Effect was popular, so you were basically choosing between good and evil, right? And I made that point in my review, that you were kind of choosing between good and evil. And then a handful of the like most edgy edgelords came out in the comments, were like, the Na'vi are the evil, the humans are good, and it's like, cool, man. What's your profile pic? It's my head on a giraffe. Someone else made it as a joke because I have a long neck. What are you doing in the jungle touching grass? Don't worry, I'm not. I'm just virtually in the jungle. Now we're reporting to Dalton. 1 for 21. Yeah, okay. Still early, that's pretty good. Just a bit of cricket chat here on stream. If you're just joining us, this is James Cameron's Avatar, the 2009 game by Ubisoft.
Hey, Ryder. Seems like every time I see you, there's trouble. We've got breaches.
Which represents a fairly different time for Ubisoft, you know? I feel like this game and the new game both reflect the current state of Ubisoft, in a way. You know, this came out when they made Assassin's Creed and Far Cry 2 and were sort of trying new things and sort of trying to launch new IPs, and so they put a lot of effort into this. This is quite a high production game. And Ubisoft now are in a weird place where, like, their games are kind of trending downhill, but they have a tried and true formula that's worked for them for so long, so the new one is sort of like trying to both adhere to that formula but also break out of it. The game came bundled with my PSP Go. It was fairly good. Yeah, it is fairly good. What's this? Okay, that's the objective. So yeah, like all the missions are kind of like this. There's a few boss battles, which is another thing this game does better than the new one. Sheerly by having boss battles, but the boss battles in this are really bad. They're really broken. I remember beating one by just like flying a helicopter over to it and shooting them from the helicopter, and they couldn't attack me back at all. And I remember beating another, was just like I would shoot them for ages and they would use a health pack and then they would shoot me for ages and I would use a health pack. Ooh, getting a bit of... How do I don't know how to use my abilities. I'll just use the keyboard. There we go. Ability is on cooldown, which is a very MMO-y thing. When I released my video, someone left a comment on it. When I released my video reviewing this game years ago, someone left a comment on it. Because I had this theory in the video that this was at one point meant to be an MMO. Because it just has so many MMO elements in it. And someone left a comment saying, it was never meant to be an MMO, but the game's lead designer was obsessed with MMOs. And that's why it's so much like one. And I believe that. Like there should be a sprint button. Just missing it. Although I don't remember there being one. It's not shift. And I can't... I don't know. I would probably only play the human campaign because I'm just more interested in entertaining my Far Cry 2 brain and destroy everything. That's fair. It's a fun campaign. Oh, it's okay. I don't give this game a strong recommendation. I just think it's interesting. Pull the trigger on Doom GBA. Actually not too bad for 35 Australian, a legit copy. Yeah. I think Ubisoft games are finally getting better. The 3 games they released this year were really good. The Crew Motorfest, Riders Republic, and AC Mirage. Riders Republic was last year. The Crew Motorfest was okay, but it really feels like... I'm just going to dive everywhere. Good call. The Crew Motorfest really feels like Forza Horizon at home. Like really Forza Horizon at homey.
Signal. I'll keep working on it from here. I'm sending in support. They'll meet you there.
Ah, so this conquest thing. Oh, yeah. This I really regret never mentioning this in my original review. But there's this conquest mode, which is like this weird RTS thing where you capture territories, and I kind of just wholly missed it in the original. I don't need to do this, do I?
Good job on the fences.
Skipping another boring cutscene. Dialogue's fairly boring in the new one as well. Although the story gets good like 2/3 into the new game, which is really annoying. I don't like when games are like that. It's like, just play 10 hours before it gets good. These in-world loading screens. I need to play more Riders Republic. And I think that Avatar, like, I personally like the new Avatar game more than any Assassin's Creed game and more than any Far Cry game since Far Cry 2, not including Far Cry 2. I'm an Avatar now. In a very sort of nonchalant... I remember thinking at the time, like, it's just kind of casual how you become an Avatar. And suddenly he's like full movement. He's got a gun out. He's got clothes on. Like, just 10 minutes ago, there was a cutscene where we couldn't even walk. And now we're like good to go. We're jumping. We're doing these things. Like, you know? This guy adapted real quick. I think the lead designer only played WoW and no other games. I think that's correct. I think that's what the comment said, at least.
Damn, you're tiny.
So, grain of salt, but
Listen.
sounds right.
Over to meet Dr.
2000s games are the best, even when they're the worst. I agree. Is Michelle Rodriguez in this game? No, but this character we're talking to now, I think, is like an analog for Michelle. Oh, maybe she is in this game. I can't remember. I know that Quarterich is in this game. Sigourney Weaver's in this game. Suddenly you're a parkour expert. Yeah. But as I was saying, yeah, I like the new Avatar game. I think it does things with the Ubisoft formula that make it more interesting than most other Ubisoft games. But I also really like Avatar as an IP. I'm the only person on the internet that likes Avatar as an IP, so you know. It appealed to me. Alright, I can't drive vehicles because I'm an Avatar. Tree of Vision allows you to teleport to other trees of vision. Nice. There are scrags attacking me. Okay, we're going the right way. We have a 2023 Game of the Year mini-me. So far I do. And I'm going to do a video in like February about my Game of the Year. But it is Alan Wake 2. I don't mind map markers in open world games, but I feel the problem is that several games have had this design philosophy as only standard for years. Yeah. Alright. Gotta kill some scrags. This game feels quite Halo-y once you really get going with it. You know, it's like lots of vehicles, lots of enemy types, lots of big scale fights. Yeah, like with map markers in open world games, I am very sick of them. And I never really liked them in the first place. And I'm glad Avatar 2, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora kind of does away with them.
Dr. Harper, I presume.
Skipping every cutscene because they're boring.
You, listen, noob. I need you
Noob.
to some florist
It's
and-
2009.
Ain't
We're
afraid
calling
of
people
plants,
noobs.
are you?
What's a deadly flower among
I'm amazed that there's no mini-me vid on Bionic Commando 2009. There probably will be someday. I love that the Faith No More guy voiced the lead character in that game. That is so good to me. Is that Mike something? Speaking of Halo, did you see someone doing a fan demake of it onto the Game Boy Color? I didn't, but that's cool. I remember back in the J2ME games, because Halo was so popular, there were lots of like shady fan versions of Halo and Counter-Strike put onto J2ME. Mike Patton, that's his name. It's cool that he did that game. But yeah, Alan Wake 2 is my game of the year, followed probably by Like a Dragon Ishin, even though that's a remake. And you know, there's some other good games this year to talk about. I really like a game, it's not really a game, it's like a game documentary thing called The Making of Karateka, or Karateka. Have you played XCOM Enemy Unknown? I have, and it's good. Oh, we're gathering thistle samples. Got another one. Voice of the Darkness, In the Darkness, yeah. The Darkness is a game I've always really wanted to like, but have never quite clicked with. Because I really like the Chronicles of Riddick. And it's sort of a similar game. I feel like the Dead Space remake should have got more recognition. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I have it installed because it's on Game Pass, but I can't comment on it. I think that Like a Dragon Ishin is amazing. And for pretty much the whole year, I was thinking that that would be my game of the year. But then Alan Wake 2 comes along and kind of knocked it out of the park. I also tried out Baldur's Gate 3 yesterday because I almost feel like I had to. And it seems really good, but like, damn, it's an intimidating game. You know, it just throws all those numbers at you and tells you to create a character without any context, kind of thing. But I think I'll really enjoy that game too. We shall see. I like how this gun never reloads. You've got the infinity symbol. I finished Detroit Become Human for the first time today. It was corny, but I liked it. Yeah, I finished that game. It's corny, but I like it too. But you know, David Cage sucks. If you're just joining us, this is the 2009 Avatar game, which I think is probably the best looking game of 2009, but no one cares because it's an Avatar game. And I'm reviewing the new Avatar game soon, so I wanted to refresh my memory on this one. To remind myself of what this game's like.
I had my doubts, but you seem to have
And I can't skip this cutscene.
Thanks.
David Cage junk food games, yeah. This is the only Avatar game that really fulfills the fantasy of piloting the mechs and shooting the blue guys. Yeah. That's the thing, like, piloting the mechs is actually kind of a fun and exciting appeal of this game.
I am Tangela.
And you can play as the bad guys,
Expected you.
if you want to. Vegetation still looks impressive, yeah. It's Far Cry 2's engine, but everything isn't brown, and
Today
apparently
you
they
must
used a
help
lot of
me.
assets from the film, and you know, the visual design can obviously kind of be attributed to James Cameron. You don't want to give Ubisoft too much credit here, but in terms of bringing those visuals to life, they knocked it out of the park. This guy trying? He's just... Oh yeah, he is. Who cares about the prettiest game of 2009 when the prettiest game of 2008 is Mirror's Edge? Yeah, look, probably right. I think the real reason no one cared about how good this game looks at the time is because Crysis looked better and came out 2 years earlier, and then Metro 2033 came out a year after, and so this game kind of just got sandwiched. Mirror's Edge does look amazing. I've finished Mirror's Edge like 4 times. It's a good game. What am I doing here? Am I meant to be killing these guys? Oh yeah. Euthanize 6 stone beasts. They're 6, so it's okay. Have infinite ammo. Don't know how. Catalyst also looks amazing. Yeah. Mirror's Edge Catalyst was one of the more disappointing games for me. I don't know. You get to fly one of those big RDA gunships at the end of this game. It's all wish fulfillment. The new game doesn't do enough with enemy variety or mech stuff. Like, basically, you're usually just shooting those, like, 2-legged walking mechs for the entire game. It's either them or humans and the occasional helicopter. Whereas this game, you know, has a ton of vehicles. You fight plants, you fight Na'vi, you fight humans. And you often see large-scale fights just happening in the background. And I wish the new game did that. Everything's very static in the new game. It's like, this is the zone where the RDA live. This is the zone where the Na'vi live. And the only character who seems to move around is you, the player. You know, it's... Am I meant to get in here? Oh, yeah, there we are.
Follow Tanjala. He's
Alright, off we go. Crazy to see you live. I have the flu, so it's hard out there. It's good to see you too. See, there's just fights going on, you know? It feels really dynamic in a way that the new game doesn't. And yeah, I don't know. The new game, like, I think that both this game and the new Avatar game fail to sort of maximize their potential, you know. Just killing scrags. But they fail to maximize their potential for different reasons, you know? Like, this game... God. Need to heal. How many scrags are there? We can do some leveling up. Of course, there's RPG mechanics. Weapons? We got weapon slots. Look at that. We got a gun model. Can we look at it up close? Not really. Okay, we don't have skill points or anything. I think that this game is clearly unfinished, and the game they had in mind was a lot more ambitious than what they ended up making. Whereas I think that Frontiers of Pandora feels very polished and very finished, but they didn't aim high enough to capitalize on the beautiful world that they've created or the combat mechanics they've created. Like, for example, in the new one, there's tons of like flying around, and game feels good in the air. You kind of have an air dash and a big leap, but you barely do any like air combat or combat up in the sky. Like, you know, in the Avatar films when they jump off the Ikran and run along the top of an airship and throw grenades into the vents and then jump back off and land on the Ikran again. I tried to jump off an Ikran onto an airship in the new Avatar game, and the collision model on that airship must have been circular because it just kind of automatically slid me off. And I was like, oh, you know? It's kind of disappointing. I think Bionic Commando 2009 is actually excessively pretty in spite of bad textures. I would rate it prettier than this. Oh, okay. I should play it again. I imagine that YouTube compression and my Wi-Fi streaming is absolutely destroying how this game looks. But this is a great looking game. And it also supported 3D, which was at the core of basically their entire marketing pitch for this game. It was like, you know, Avatar the film supports 3D. And Avatar the game does too, because 3D is the future of television technology, and it wasn't. If you're just joining us, this is the 2009 Avatar game no one's ever talking about anymore. And it's pretty good. Not great, but it's a game with a lot of potential that wasn't capitalized on. And I think it could have been one of the best games of its generation. Had it, maybe had another year of development. It was on its way.
I smell promotion in the
Just there's so many vehicle types, so much dynamism to the combat.
about what you're doing.
It's cool.
Any of this look familiar? Wait,
Does material gathering in the new one get tedious after a while?
that's where the Navi used to
Yes, I would say.
live before you stepped in. Me.
You've got to really be in that mindset of, I am
Everyone's
playing
here.
this game to relax.
Sig spec locked the target. What the hell did you think you
If
were
you want to
doing?
do the material gathering stuff. But I will say that if you're mainlining the main quest, you've only got to do material gathering like once, maybe.
They used you, right?
So it's pretty ignorable. The interesting thing about the new game is it doesn't sort of,
Falco and the RDA are finished. It's just a matter of
it doesn't
time.
litter the map with collectibles in the ways that Ubisoft games often do. And it doesn't sort of throw scenarios at, like it's not afraid to have a quiet moment. It's not as scared of you getting bored. You know what I mean?
We're two avatars against
Like it's cool for you to just spend 3 minutes flying an Ikran with no music,
right now.
which isn't something you feel that Ubisoft games of the past decade would allow you to do. They constantly had this sort of design strategy of,
We can take out these troops.
keeping your attention. I can't move, but here's the decision between the two campaigns. We can either be a human or be blue. And I think, for interest's sake, we're going to be the bad guys.
Avatar. We have the advantage.
Because the humans can drive some cool mechs. That's good enough for me. I've finished both campaigns. I wouldn't say one is significantly better or worse than the other. Maybe the Na'vi one's a bit better because Ikrans are cool and you don't have to fight plants as much. Because fighting plants is always lame. Gonna head out, but see you later and have a good one. See you, Jeff. Thanks for joining. This is a hell of a combat scenario. See, like, the graphics are here. Mechanics aren't quite here. It's just a little too basic. It's too simple of a game. Do you like Avatar 2, the film? It's weird. I quite like it, but it's very self-indulgent and weirdly paced.
You fool.
This is the real Armored Core 6. Number one to be a reason to be a human, giant robots here. The rare license game that devs decided to do a good job with for whatever reason. Yeah, it's a good job. It's not a great job, but it was an attempt at being a full-blown AAA game, and it just didn't come together properly. The clip on the gun must be really long. Yeah, it's infinite. It would be great if the credits song of the first Avatar was I'm Blue by Eiffel 65. I agree.
I knew we could count on you, Ryder. We made the right choice.
I'm not even sure what choice I made.
The Navi don't see what's happening here. They don't understand the opportunities.
So funny thing is the game presents you with another decision late in the human campaign, where it's basically like, are you sure you want to side with the bad guys? It's like, here's another decision where you can help the Na'vi if you want to. But that's like really late in the game. That's like in the last 2 hours. And those are like the two decisions in the game. Avatar 2 was surprisingly good in 3D, still forgot most of it though. Yeah, it's a gorgeous film. It's just... Avatar 2 embraces the campiness of Avatar in a way that I didn't really expect. Like bringing back the evil Colonel Corderich guy. Like Avatar 1's campy, but
Ken,
Avatar
you
2 is
alright?
less...
I think I'm okay.
Uh,
Pilot's banged up pretty bad.
I don't want to say less sincere because it's so committed to its ideals, but it's sort of like
RDA mining camp a few mics from here. I'll
a
stay
lot
strong.
more corny, I think, than
Don't worry,
Avatar
I'll
1.
be fine. I've got a full
Have you played The Incredibles on PS2 GameCube? Yes, I remember it being okay. I remember playing a lot of the Rise of the Undertaker, and especially the Rise of the Undertaker on GBA. I played a ton of, which was like an okay side-scrolling platformer. It was always real weird to me. Here we go, fighting some plants. How do you switch weapon? Just a flamethrower. I don't know if I have a flamethrower. Or just shoot him. But yeah, fighting plants. Not exactly the most compelling of enemies. Plants and scrags. This game's filled with them.
Take this.
But look at this. It's just gorgeous. Like, they did a really great job in 2009 making a good-looking Avatar game. Rise of the Underminer. Yeah, that's it. What did I say? The Undertaker? It was always weird that that was like a sequel to the movie. This weird video game that didn't seem like anyone cared about it. I like that 1 hour straight of Avatar 2. We're just chilling at the beach. Yeah, it's that kind of movie. And if you're not that into Avatar, that 1 hour would seem insufferable. What's for dinner? Salmon? Thanks for asking. Deep Rock Galactic has good plant fights. I'll keep that in mind. I'll do a video on plant fights. If you're just joining us, this is Avatar the game from 2009. See that, like, XP plus 30? This game really wants to be an MMO.
I could use this.
It's very bizarre. Really good sense of scale to everything, you know? You feel small in a big moving world. And this is what I think this game's better at than the new one. There's just constantly animals everywhere, Ikran flying overhead, plants attacking you. The new game's fairly okay at that, but then this game will throw in like humans fighting the animals. And I remember renting this game at Blockbuster when it came out. I remember my sister's boyfriend renting it. And having a blast. For real, that 1 hour at the beach was my favorite part. I didn't want it to end. Went and watched twice. That's cool. It's a very... I think Avatar 1's just a good film in general. Anyone can love it. Avatar 2's kind of like... Gotta be in the mood for it. That's probably where I'd make the distinction. So the levels in this game, they may look linear, but they're sort of... Most of them are sort of like big open maps. Can you pet the scrags? You can't. So there's sort of a bit of, I guess you'd say like Metroidvania style backtracking. But it's more just like, you have an objective over here on the map. Now you have an objective over here on the map. Now you have an objective over here on the map. You know, so you're kind of just walking around, following the orange question marks, which is something that World of Warcraft had too. Because apparently the lead designer of this game was obsessed with World of Warcraft, according to a comment. And never played any other game. Tedium of this game begins to kick in around now. It's not great, but it's an interesting attempt. Who's hyped for the Fire Nation, Navi? I am. I feel weird talking positively about Avatar on the internet. Everyone's so grumpy about it all the time. I'm glad you like it, Riccioli. I'm glad there's not only one of us. This might sound strange, but the only shots that generally made me go wow in Avatar 2 are the close-ups of the Na'vi hands. Landscape shots and the underwater shots just felt meh to me. Fair enough. I thought there were some beautiful shots in that film, but I did see it in like a really nice big cinema. How do you become a lead game designer having only played one game? You want to take a gamble on it? It's probably nepotism, right? Plants remind me of the poison dart shooting ones. Yeah. There's a dead Ikran, very sad. And a dead human to go with him. I have a feeling there's a sprint button I'm missing, but can't seem to find it. Ooh, a slow motion. I forgot about that. I'm holding down buttons for seconds at a time. It's not doing anything. If you're just joining us, welcome. Ooh, is this a helicopter we can fly? I'll go do the mission and then we'll do some flying, hey? It's funny how this unit, who I think was like a recruit at the start of the game, just a complete nobody, just seems to have free reign to use any vehicle he sees without permission. Like, is this guy a pilot? I don't think so. Like, what kind of operation are they running here?
Who the hell are you?
Yep. That was probably a conversation about can I use the helicopter, to be fair. Look, they've put effort in. You can see them mining. That's quite a lot of effort for a background scene. And I remember there's a home base in the game that you can walk around in, and there's like a firing range and a cafeteria and a research lab, and none of these areas are used at all ever in the story in any way, which kind of suggests that this game has a lot of cut content, and I think it does. It's kind of interesting that the Avatar games are kind of tied to MMOs, one with inspiration from MMOs and the others being made by MMO devs. Yeah, that is interesting, actually. I hadn't made that connection. Do you have any interest in playing the new Prince of Persia? I do. I played it at a video game convention a couple of months ago, and I was pretty impressed by it. I think it'll be good. I want to do a video on the Sands of Time sometime. Oops, wrong button. Because the Sands of Time, I think, is one of the best games of its generation. How do I go? Let me go. Oh. Ooh, right stick. Right stick for up and down. We shoot some Ikran. Be evil. I feel bad shooting Ikran. Let's fly over here. But yeah, I think the Prince of Persia Sands of Time is like an amazing game. One that doesn't get enough recognition, but maybe when the remake comes out, people will remember it more fondly. We're here at the crash site, probably saving some people. It's just such a simple game, you know? You just go between objectives. You just do the objective, and then you shoot some skags, and you do the next thing.
There was nothing I could do. The Banshees are pretty
We need an action-adventure Jumanji Zathura game. There is a Zathura game on PS2. What do you think is the most mid game ever made? I'd nominate Starfield. I played a fair bit of Starfield, and I guess it is. There was a point playing Starfield where I really quite enjoyed it, but then kind of all of its systems revealed themselves to be fairly shallow. And a lot of storylines just kind of wrapped up in ways that felt very abrupt. I don't know what the most mid game ever made is.
All set?
All set.
Can I get back in the helicopter? Destroy Banshee nests near the mining base. What? Yeah, any Assassin's Creed COD game in the last 10 years? I like COD games, but I don't like Assassin's Creed games. Sands of Time remake's never coming out? Yeah. You're right. It feels like it's gonna die in the same way. I'm not meant to get in this. What am I doing? In the same way that Beyond Good and Evil 2 died. Feels like Ubisoft are a poorly run company at the moment. They have so many employees. Like, if you look up the number of employees working for Ubisoft compared to other studios, it's like 10 times as much. And yet it doesn't feel like they put out the volume of content or the quality of content to match. Back in. I played Starfield for 10 hours, realized the game has no soul, and then booted up again. I don't think Starfield is... I think that there are things being said about Starfield that I don't necessarily agree with. Like, People are calling the game lazy. I don't think Starfield is a lazy game. It has a ton of stuff in it. We're doing this. See, this is more what levels are like, you know. They're sort of these big, open environments with loading screens in between. I think Starfield... I think I have some leniency with Starfield because no one else is making games that Bethesda make, you know? You kind of don't get the giant open world game where it's like a CRPG mixed with like an immersive sim from anyone else, you know? It's not... It's just not a... The fact that there's still a company attempting to make one of those is cool. And so the amount of hate that game gets because it's disappointing is both fair enough, but also kind of like, this is a genre of game I want to see more of. Look, they're shooting the Ikran. See, this game's it's very alive. This kind of stuff doesn't really happen in the new one. If you're just joining us, this is 2009 Avatar game, which I'm playing because I want to review the new one and I want to remind myself about what this one's like. And it's worse, but it does a lot of things better. Like enemy variety.
Commander Falco's ready for you.
All right.
Now that Saints Row is dead, there's also no one making games like GTA. We had lots of GTA clones and now there's nothing. Yeah. Like Watch Dogs seems like it's done. A lot of Ubisoft IPs are really down at the moment, you know? I was talking about this with a friend. It's sort of like Assassin's Creed feels like it's in a dark patch. Far Cry feels like it's in a dark patch. Watch Dogs feels like it's almost gone at this point. There's not a lot of goodwill left with these franchises, and it makes you think like they should, if they want to revive an IP, they should go back to Splinter Cell, or they should go back to Driver, which I know is something I would say.
You heard the man.
Games that aren't super old, but still have a lot of positive brand recognition surrounding them. Like when an Assassin's Creed game comes out, it feels like there's a wave of negativity surrounding them. And I don't know how well Mirage did, but I think it didn't sell that great. What's up, Cookin' Media Studios? We're just discussing Ubisoft. The state of Ubisoft. There are still good indie games coming out, at least. Yeah. I mean, it's been an incredible year for indie and AAA video games, right? Like, but Ubisoft, it hasn't been an incredible year for them. They made a decent Avatar game, an okay Crew game that kind of sacrifices the identity of what the Crew was in favor of being a bad version of Forza Horizon. Knife. So this seems to be as high as I can fly, which means I have to go under this rock, which is tragic. Maybe I can fly through the gap. Look, they put a conveniently placed log. Damn. The new Prince of Persia does look good, but it also feels a little like a, I don't know, a half effort at making Prince of Persia a big franchise again. A sort of testing of the waters, being, you know, a lower budget side scroller. I think it'll be great, and I think a lot of the developers behind the Rayman Origins and Legends games are working on it, which like brings me a lot of confidence. And when I tried it out, it seemed like a really fun game. So, but it's also like, how committed are they to bringing back Prince of Persia? And should they have made a big 3D platforming Prince of Persia instead? From what I heard with Mirage, it's kind of a step in the right direction, but feels weird to control because it still uses the Origins Odyssey Valhalla engine. Fair enough. If Far Cry 7 actually came at me with a time limit, like rumored, I'd at least be interested. Don't get any Dead Risings anymore. Yeah. Change weapon. We're playing as the bad guys, everyone. Bit of fun in it. It was funny at the time how there was always like moral decisions in games were basically like, do you want to be good or do you want to be evil? I feel like we've moved away from that. That Fable. Fable was to blame for all of that. Fable, Infamous, and Mass Effect. So here we are being evil, I guess. Very basic combat. Despite how, like, I guess vertical the world is, you kind of just, you feel very boots on the ground, as Call of Duty World War II's marketing would say. It's a boots on the ground kind of game. There's not a lot of movement, there's not a lot of intrigue with how the movement works, you know, it's just very simple, walking around, aiming the gun. Life is Strange did moral choices really well. Yeah, that was a good game. Didn't like Life is Strange 2 as much. Or True Colors. I want a new Infamous. Michael Ansel and other key people retired from gaming, so I don't care much about Ubisoft. Yeah. I think they were all caught in scandals as well. A lot of dodgy culture at Ubisoft from what it sounds like. Rather mindless, and I'm gonna die. Yeah. I had a friend in middle school who chose the military in this game. He was really proud of himself. Use recover. Okay. F. Yeah, it was really funny when I did my review. Oh, is this our first crash? And everyone was like, yeah, there's our crash. Finally happened. We'll bring it back up. When I did my review and all the like edgelords came out and were like, you know, humans aren't the bad guys. That's why Ubisoft has so many leaks. Anyway, I think I might wrap this up here, actually. I think that's a good time. I think we've seen enough. I think I've reminded myself of what I like about this game and what I dislike about this game and how far third-person combat has come. I'm fine with Ubisoft apparently experimenting with a time limit for Far Cry 7, although I've seen people complaining about it. I think that's a great idea. I think they need to experiment with things. They need to do a Far Cry Majora's Mask, you know? But yeah, if you're joining, if you enjoyed this stream, click like. It helps out the channel. The second channel, which I don't put a ton of effort into. But yeah. Hope you enjoyed this stream. I always do them around this time, usually like a few hours earlier than this. It's kind of, I'm feeling lazy because we're sort of in that like holiday period between Christmas and New Year's, so I kind of slept in and just moseyed my way over to this stream. I also spent a long time installing this because I pirated it and had to use a key gen. Humans are the real monsters is the most writing cliche, is the worst writing cliche in existence. Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. If if you hate cliches, Avatar isn't the film for you, I suppose. Thanks for the stream. Hopefully catch you next one. Thanks for joining me. It's been a blast. I'll see you all in a week's time. I still want to stream Driver 3 on the main channel, full playthrough. It's funny how every single time I stream, the game crashes, you know? Even this time, everything was going great. But yeah, next week we might do another Guess the Game, which I know everyone loves here at Micro Me. But yeah, catch you all later, and see you next week. Doing a new video soon on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Take care of yourselves.